Hey, Inland Empire gun owners strive to be the ounce of prevention in the fight for your gun rights. How do they do it? They do it by fundraising and getting local pro-gun candidates elected. Become a member today. Go to iegunowners.com/join and join the growing number of responsible gun owners stepping up to defend our Second Amendment. That's iegunowners.com/join. By the way, Action Jackson, the email we were talking about, this guy said that when you're not on, he's not happy.
Yeah, he said you're like his favorite part of the show.
You
my
are,
friend.
yeah, he actually said you were his favorite part of the show.
Really?
Serious as art.
What's it like having fans?
It's awesome.
You got fans. I went. You were not here last weekend, but I went down to 511, and I'm old enough to be your grandfather.
At least.
So I told him, I says, "Can I get the Action Jackson discount?" Oh, you know Action Jackson? Yeah, sure, we'll hook you up. Didn't get as good.
They kicked him out. They picked him up and threw him
No,
out in the parking lot.
I bought, and I says, "How do you find clothes for that guy?" He says, "Hey, we got clothes for that guy."
That's right. They got for all folks.
Well,
young
yeah,
and old.
I think you've got some kind of VIP discount.
Are you a 511 VIP?
You could say.
Yeah, he does, man. I'm telling you, you'd think, oh,
Awesome.
really? I'm surprised his picture wasn't on the wall.
Yeah.
It probably is.
There's a I don't have any VIP status anywhere, but I definitely have PIA status.
You have
A few places
PIA?
all over the time.
Ah,
Pretty proud of that.
That's pretty
Pretty
good.
proud of that. So we were talking to Joe Germisi about situational awareness. I wanted to continue talking a little bit about that, Joe, and then go into what you have coming up for 2023. And before we went to the break, the question was, how do you behave differently? What do you do differently now that you have a CCW? Something changed, something you do differently? Alicia, why don't we start with you?
Well, it's part of when you're with the issuing of the CCW, you would then become responsible. And there's some liability that goes with that. And then when it comes to a justified use of force, there's actually 5 different aspects to a justified use of force. And one of those being innocence. So if you live your life in a way that you kind of have a demeanor about you that could be seen as aggressive or rough or difficult, in my opinion, it can give some fuel to the prosecution if you ever have to use your firearm or any of your tools in a use of self-defense. So something that really hit hard with me was the idea of you always have to maintain an aspect of innocence in the way that you behave and how you treat people. And I know that Joe can probably even expand on that as well when he. But you have to think of how you approach people, how you talk to people, how you look at people, how you interact with people. If somebody is difficult towards you, you have to kind of live a life of de-escalation, and you have that responsibility.
Live a life of de-escalation. That's a good
You
phrase.
do.
Is that seriously? Did you just say that, or is that
Yeah.
from somebody
T-shirt.
else? Is that it almost sounds like something like you should coin that. That should be your
That's a
phrase right
t-shirt.
now. Yeah, seriously.
T-shirt.
That sounds like, you know how John Korea's got like 15, 20
At least.
Korea-isms.
At least.
I think you just coined an Alicia-ism.
There you go.
So, Joe, what about you? Is there something you do different, a way that you live your life differently now that you're a CCW, now that you're a daily carry?
Yeah, I think I pay more attention to stuff now than I
Mhm.
used to. I people watch a lot more, and there was a girl that was in class one time used the term of what ifin', and I do a lot more what ifin' nowadays. So when I walk into say a business or something like that, I always kind of glance around to see who's in there, who could be a threat, maybe who couldn't.
Mhm.
And it sounds weird, but it's kind of fun to do. Just looking around, okay, not a problem, not a problem, not a problem. Could be, you know.
You're like the Terminator.
And yeah, pretty much. You know, I've had that go through my mind when I was looking around doing that.
It's like, you know what it's almost like, in all seriousness, it's almost like life has turned into the last 10 minutes of the last episode of The Sopranos. You know what I mean? We're like, you know, like ding, ding, ding. Okay, who just walked in? You know, and who is that? Why are they, what's the, you know?
Yeah, and it's actually, I mean, because you pay attention, there's a lot of entertaining people out there, and you notice them. You notice a lot of weird stuff and things like that. But I'll think about that. I'll think about things like along the what if and thing. Okay, if something did happen, for instance, which way could you shoot? Because you got to be paying attention if
What's
you
your
had to
backstop?
do something like that. Yeah. You know, how confident are you? Could I hit that person from here to there? You know, and it's just things run through your mind now. I think the biggest thing is I pay more attention to stuff that's out there now than I did before. So I think that's probably the biggest change with me.
I far less road rage, in all honesty.
You used to be a road rager.
Well, maybe that's an extreme term, but far less. Hey, that guy cut me off.
Oh,
you
wait,
know,
you pepper sprayed people. You've done all kinds of stuff.
they deserve only people that
Kids, I
deserve.
thought they were.
So far, I don't. When I say road rage, I didn't. You know,
Yeah.
I just mean
You're telling the
I'm
truth.
I'm far more patient in traffic.
Why
That's a
do I
better way to
find
put
that
it.
hard to believe?
Well, I drive a Jeep too. Jeep's a lot older. You know. But in all seriousness, far less concerned with rude people on the freeways. Just, you know what? They're having a bad day. Fine,
I'm
do their
right
thing.
there with you.
I would say that I was never a big drinker, but now
You really are.
but now, oh my God, no. Now if I'm not planning to drink, like, oh, hey, I'm going to go I'm going to go to like a bourbon tasting or something like that. I really don't drink. I definitely, of course, you can't drink when you're carrying,
Right.
at all, not one sip. And then third is I really I don't really I'm a little more hesitant to jump in when someone needs help. In all honesty, you know, I have all kinds of stories.
Have you ever had a situation where you should have jumped in, but you didn't because you were carrying?
No, not yet, but I have a ton of stories of jumping in when people need it. Tons. And now it's like, meh, let's just kind of watch from afar. Like where I'd be like, hey, I'm going to go get right in the middle of that thing and make sure that he or she or whatever, they're okay. And now it's like, let's just kind of
Stand back and
let's
shoot.
see how
Don't
no.
even bother to
Let's
go
just
ahead.
see how this plays out, because it really does feel like there's an attorney up in Orange County, the guy that runs Artemis, who did a really good job of stating it this way: that when you get a CCW, the only thing that it does is it gives you an exception from some of the transportation laws in California. So what he was saying was, you're not a cop now. You don't suddenly have some kind of authority. So my concern is, if I do assert myself in a situation where, I don't know, there's a crime being committed or people arguing, whatever. If I do assert myself, I don't want to be accused. I certainly don't want to escalate the situation, and I don't want to be accused, nor do I want to be the person that made it worse, or thought that, hey, I have a gun, therefore I can do X, Y, Z. That's really bad. That's not the way you should. I don't think it's not the way I choose to behave.
I think it's important to note that and it was great you stated that you don't have the authority of law enforcement, but I think it's also important to put out there and remind people, not only do you not have the authority to act as law enforcement, you also don't have a responsibility to step in to any encounter you don't choose to. You just because you have the ability doesn't mean that you have the responsibility to do so.
Well, and the other thing with that too is there's a million ways. If you insert yourself in some kind of third party thing, there's a million ways that can go sideways. And when you choose to get involved, you're risking everything. You're risking your freedom, maybe your life, your future, your job,
Your
everything.
bank account.
Well, because
Everything.
you're automatically wrong. You're automatically guilty.
Well,
to
you,
a certain
well,
extent.
you don't
Potentially.
know
You
what's
don't
going to
know.
happen.
Well,
and
I
you
know,
don't
but if
know-
something was, who are they going to? They're going to go after you first.
Well, and what you have to think about first is, okay, do I need to? Is it better just to call 911? Let those guys deal with it. And everybody, what we teach in class is everybody has a line that I'm not willing to watch that. I'll watch two guys fighting. Am I willing to watch a man beat a woman up and just call? Am I willing to watch somebody beating a kid?
Right.
So what is my line that I'm going to actually cross and then risk all that stuff? And you need to think about that ahead of time.
That's why you need to belong to USCC. I'm serious.
Hey, you goof that up.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
you don't-
everybody should have some kind of
You got to
support
have
like
some
that
protection,
before they
because you
carry.
just never know. A lot of companies are unhappy with their website. It looks old. It's out of date. It's not getting customers. Sage Tree gets it. Since 2005, Sage Tree has been helping companies with websites that look great, work great, and get leads. So stop being frustrated by your website and get one that you're going to be proud to share. Contact Sage Tree today to get a website that makes the phone ring. Getting started is super easy. Call 866-728-9100, 866-728-9100, and fix your website today.
My thing. Oh, Joe's got to look. What happened? What did I do?
No, you didn't do anything. I was just a thought. Thoughts just flow to. I was just thinking of the pirate's favorite letter.
R. So the we were talking about.
Oh, actually, you would think it's R, but it's actually the C. Thank you.
Yeah, because they spent so long at seas.
That's right.
There you go. How much does a pirate pay for corn, Action Jackson?
How much?
Buccaneer. Huh?
And I have one. All right, go for it. Why couldn't the 11-year-old get into the pirate movie?
Why couldn't the 11-year-old get into the pirate movie?
It was rated R.
Nice.
Someone was watching SpongeBob there. I can tell.
You watch SpongeBob SquarePants Pizza?
Many times.
Yeah.
All right.
I interviewed him one time.
SpongeBob SquarePants?
Yeah. Is that what it is? I call him Square. Anyway, I totally destroy it. It just drove him crazy. Square Bob Pan Pizza.
I don't understand. What do you mean you interviewed SpongeBob?
I interviewed him at the San Diego International Auto Show one year.
Oh.
I says, "Why is your sponge so dirty?" And he says, "I use it."
I don't know what's going on anymore. All right, so
it was a great interview, though.
Sometimes you go down those paths.
we're going back
and-
to. Yeah, good job, Joe. Thanks, man.
Bring out the best of us.
So the we're talking about situational awareness. I think my thing with one of the things that I have done that I do now that has been with me for a while. It's not even really a decision I made, but when I'm walking down the street, I think I've talked about this on the show. When I'm walking down the street and someone's walking behind me, I can't stand it. I cannot stand it. I've actually what I'll do
Well,
is
you do good in New York.
Yeah, I know, right? I wouldn't get anywhere.
Thousands of people behind you.
So if it's kind of a big crowd, if it makes sense that there are a bunch of people around and then that's the only, but if it's
What if you go into a football game?
well, then it makes sense.
They
and
all
it's
have
okay.
to go first?
No, it's okay. Like if it's like, okay, there's a big crowd, they're all around. Okay, that makes sense. But if there's plenty of room for someone to be somewhere else and they're walking behind me,
Right.
then I've actually like put my back up against the wall. Like I'll take a step and just put my back up against the wall and watch them walk by.
Okay, so are you one of these kind of guys when you go into a restaurant, you make sure your back is against the wall and you can see the door?
I do a quick evaluation, yeah.
But I mean, do you make a point of sitting to where you can see
Yeah.
nice clear?
Yeah, in fact, Joe and I think we have this. I think Joe and I have this unspoken contest when we go somewhere to eat. Because the guy who gets there first gets to be the one
Gets
that's
the best
facing the
seat.
show or facing the door. So I think he and I, if we say 9:00, it's one of us is going to show up at like 8:30.
Yeah,
so
or
we can-
8 o'clock, just waiting.
Maybe that's just me, Joe. I don't know if it's. Are you playing?
No, it's not you.
Is
It's,
that just?
that's what we do.
Are you playing?
You too, Alicia?
Yes, sir.
Or if you do, you got to tell the guy. Like if you get there and someone,
Get out
if
of my chair.
Yeah, if Alicia and I go to lunch or whatever, and she gets there first, and she's in the chair and she's facing the door. I'm like, all right,
I've got his back.
you got it. You're the one.
You're in
Let's,
charge.
Yeah, make sure. I'll cover the bathroom.
Let me know
door.
so I can duck.
No one's coming to us from the bathroom.
That's right.
So I guess it's made me a better person. I don't no road rage, no drinking, and and then I don't get involved in domestic
much.
squabbles, I suppose. But it definitely has made me think. Now, there are a lot of courses offered. Of course, it seems like I don't know if you saw the new CCW instructor list. There's about 478 people
I'm on there.
on this list. Alicia is there. She's 477, I think. Everybody and their brother is on this list for CCW.
So there's no excuse for training.
Yeah, well, so let me say this. There's no excuse to not get training, but there wasn't an excuse before. And I got to tell you, a list that big, research. Do a little bit of research. Because there are names on there no one I know who's been around San Diego recognizes. And if you're an instructor, and nobody in the gun community's heard it, you just appear out of nowhere, I don't know. Just make sure you do a little.
So I don't know where Jason went, but he had to get his schooling for CCW.
Yeah.
And he had to drive all the way to L.A.
Well, that's kind of weird.
So he didn't want to do that. So he called Manny up. He goes, "Do you know anybody that trains here in San Diego?" And Manny says, "I do."
Yeah, Manny's on the list.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, again, research.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm not. You don't have to. you don't need their tax returns from 10
Well,
years
you can
ago.
actually use either Joe or you can use Alicia.
Honestly, so here I just thought of this. If you're out there listening and you're
you
wondering
should be
who
on
to
the
lose,
website, a preferred instructor.
well, the first question I would ask is, were you on the list 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And if you were, you should feel fairly comfortable. If they weren't, then I would just ask a few more questions. Well, wait a minute. What were you
Can't
doing
you
before?
just go to the San Diego County Gun Owners
we
website?
don't have any kind of evaluation, no.
Oh, why not?
Because that would take another job. That would be a whole other job
Well,
to
you got,
evaluate.
list
you
now.
got two sitting right here. You don't even have to do the
100
vetting.
people. But where was I going with this? I was going somewhere with this. So there's plenty of opportunity for people to take that initial course. And that initial course, half of it's testing. You're not going to learn everything you need to know in order to carry. And Joe, you are working on a course coming up in 2023. I don't know if you're offering it yet, but talk a little bit about the kind of what's the name of the course?
So the course is CCW Next Steps is what it is. And what it's intended to do is show people all the other stuff you need to know to effectively, safely carry every day. Because, we talk about, like Michael was saying, it's a state-mandated 8-hour class is what, they require everybody to go through.
Mm-hmm.
But you're really not, we can't cover all the stuff that you really need to know because there's a lot of just day-to-day stuff that people need to learn to be able to carry, again, safely, and if they ever have to use it, to be effective and to know what they can do, what they can't do. And we touch on it in the required class, but the Next Steps class goes into all that kind of stuff because with us, like with Alicia or Michael, we're immersed in this stuff. We talk to people every day that carry, that teach, so we're always hearing this stuff. But a lot of people, they get their concealed carry. Okay, you got your license. Now what? They don't have a lot of friends that carry. So for them, finding the right holster, figuring out ways to carry, there's different ways you can carry, dealing with the clothing, carrying with a round in the chamber is always a big deal, because that's something you have to get used to, and that's just a training kind of thing.
How did you handle that?
With me, I was really nervous for a couple of weeks. I think I liked your idea, the way you did it.
What was tell him? I would tell him. Yeah, tell him what I did.
What I did, I just I carried. Okay, I've got around the chamber. The thing is racked. It's in my holster. I know.
Safety's on.
Not on the Glock. There's no safe. Well, they're internal safeties, but it's just, I know in my mind, I know it can't go off. It can't fire if I don't touch the trigger and the holster covers the trigger and everything's safe. But yet, like when I'm teaching project management stuff, a lot of times I'll have a sport coat on and the gun's there. And for the first probably month that I carried like that, in the back of my head is, oh, what if this thing goes off? It's going to, and I know it can't.
It'll ruin your pants.
But that's the kind, and that's normal for everybody. The way Michael did it, I think you were telling me that you carried for a week or two without a round in the chamber.
About a month.
With the so you've got the trigger is set, so the thing's racked. There's just no round in the chamber.
Yep, full mag.
And then one of the things when you come home at night, you verify that yes, indeed, the trigger's still in the same condition. Nothing happened. It didn't do anything.
Yep.
But it's stuff like that. There's a lot of things, again, that you need to know. We talk a lot about the situational awareness thing, paying attention. There's a whole book list I have on there for people to read up on this stuff because, a lot of the times, and Alicia could probably talk to this too, when we teach students, when we go through that state-mandated course, probably half the people in that room will not step into another classroom for another 2 years till they have to come back and recert. And that's not a good way to do it. So what I want to offer is this Next Steps class to go through all that kind of stuff that if you're not immersed in it like we are, it's hard to learn. It's hard to figure out. So we've got the first one is scheduled for the 18th of February and then the 18th of March.
18th of February. So where do they go to sign up for that?
So just put just got the links set up now. So I think what we'll probably do is put it out on the San Diego County Gun Owners site. If you're a student of Bill Deasy's, you'll get that in the email because you'll be on Bill's email list. Desi wanted it too to put out to the Not Me SD people. So those are three places right now.
Is it up on the CCW USA website though, or not yet?
Should be. I know it was supposed to go out on Bill's newsletter the other day, so it
those
should
are good.
be up there.
So look for it. If you're not a member of San Diego County Gun Owners, become a member. At the very least, sign up for our newsletter, and you'll be able to see this. It's a 4 hour?
It's a 4-hour course,
okay.
and you want the cost or?
Yeah.
How much is it?
4-hour course. It's $125, and you get a textbook with it. So there's 2 textbooks actually, because there's the one USCCA textbook, the Concealed Carry and Home Defense, which is a really good textbook. So that comes with the class. Or if you already have that book, the other book I'm offering is John Petrolino's.
There he is.
Firearms book, the Firearms 101 book.
The Penn Patriot himself.
That's right. The Gabagool
John,
Patriot.
The Gabagool Patriot. John has a long mustache. Love that guy.
So yeah, you'll get a textbook with the class. You'll get a lot of great information. This should be a really good class.
That's awesome. I'm very much looking forward to that class being successful because I think it's very much needed. We have successfully helped change and are in the process of changing the culture in San Diego when it comes to gun ownership. And that includes a lot more people carrying outside of the home for self-defense. And, you know, there's a lot of great training out there. Most people focus on marksmanship. Okay, fine. But there's a whole other universe of stuff that people need to know. And your 4-hour class, I think, will take a big chunk of a bite out of the confusion people face.
Hope so.
Hey, is there a better tool that empowers a woman to defend against an attacker?
Nope.
That's 100 pounds bigger. That's why it's so important for women to learn how to defend themselves with the most effective self-defense tool ever invented. For women, led by women, the Not Me program is designed to help with training, purchasing a gun, and getting a concealed carry permit. And guess what? It's free. To sign up, go to notmesd.org. The program is also available in Orange County and the Inland Empire. So get help today at notmesd.org.
What do you say, Action Jackson? Do you like Gabagool?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do.
With the Italian accent and everything?
Not bad, huh?
That was
pretty good.
adorable. So we were just talking to Joe about his
You're
Next
busy
Steps
over there.
program for people that have a CCW. Dave, why come you don't have your CCW?
You know,
We've only been talking about it for 6.5 years.
I know. I really need to do it. I just
Let's
keep
do
buying
it.
guns, but I don't have a CCW.
Well, let's do it. That's your New Year's resolution.
I
You
know.
and I are going to sit down
You're
and
absolutely right.
get that squared away.
You know, it's funny. Just to go back to that class real quickly,
Yeah.
because you were asking about the link to it. It's on the USCCA site. If you go up to USCCA, go onto the training, in-person training, and you type in your zip code. So you type in the San Diego zip code, you'll see the classes pop up on there, and that's where you'd have to register anyway.
Nice.
So those are the links that we'll be sending out, but you can go right to that website.
And
register
it's not
there
a
as well.
shooting class, right? There's
No, it is not. It's all classroom.
It's all classroom. Okay, cool. I might. Yeah, I'm going
Gonna
to
take
get you to. Yeah, I think.
You have nothing else to do.
Alicia, you want to go take Joe's class with me?
I'll go. I
Yeah.
like Joe.
And try to do this every month. So
That's awesome. Alicia, now what you have a class coming up too, don't you?
I do. In a similar vein, it's intended to be a tool to be beneficial, and you don't have to have a CCW to take it, but it's just aimed at being a tool to kind of aid in training and just the mindset. And it's following some curriculum from the Complete Combatant, using what's called image-based decisional drills, and it's really putting real-life type scenarios in front of your eyes, and you have to make some quick, really good first decisions. And it's just kind of teaching people, you know, the whole idea of when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. You know, for people that are beginning to conceal carry, sometimes they think their option to solve every conflict could be the use of that firearm. And it's kind of teaching you have to think things through. That may not always be the best choice. And so it's just really putting you in these situations. It's in a classroom setting. It's not a range or shooting class, but it's giving you the opportunity to kind of think and to kind of put yourself in these steps or in these shoes of these scenarios and kind of getting you to really think things through.
And that's a great approach too. And that's great material. That's Brian Hill's stuff.
It is.
right?
Brian
The
Hill, Complete Combatant. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a really good. I'm guessing yours is going to be a really good course with that.
Yeah.
Did you
think
you
so.
took that too, didn't you, Joe?
Yeah.
I did. Yeah,
Joe and
took-
I did it together.
Yeah,
You guys are all trained over there.
that's what I said.
Me and
See,
Dave.
we're,
Dave
we're
doesn't
immersed
even,
in it.
He doesn't even have a permit. I haven't
No.
taken a class in
I
15
just-
years.
Yeah, no.
We feel so irresponsible. By the way, it's not true, everybody. I've taken a class
No, you haven't.
14 years ago. Okay.
When you were 3.
By the way, big announcement real quick. If you are on the San Diego County Gun Owners email list, then you just received an email. Go check your email. Legal self-defense class, exclusive free seminar for all San Diego County Gun Owners members. We just opened this up to every San Diego County Gun Owners member, totally free. What happens if someone's trying to hurt you or invade your home or business, and what are the steps to take next? What do I say when I call 911? Do I call my legal protection? What happens after I call 911? There are many things to consider if you somehow have to use your firearm to protect yourself. So we're having a seminar with an attorney provided by Lone Star Firearm Defense, a great guy named Alan Chandler. It's January 11th, which is Wednesday.
Yeah.
What are you doing Wednesday?
It's too far out.
You should come, man. Come down.
You'll have to call and remind me.
I will. January 11th from 6:30 to about 8. Probably not going to run all the way
Can
to
you
8.
come pick me up
Sure, I'll come pick you up.
in your Jeep?
Then yeah.
No.
I'm not going to let you drive, though. I've seen the way you
Bring a jacket.
drive.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's the location's listed. It's sponsored by Living Legacy, one of our members,
And what is
Aaron. So it's a seminar on basically if you do get involved in some kind of firearms, defensive gun use situation or something like that, we're getting an attorney to come talk to you about, okay, well, what now? Like, what are the things that needs
John
to
Dillon.
happen? It's not John Dillon. It's a guy named Alan Chandler.
Not going to do it.
Alan's just as
No.
good as John, I
John
promise.
Dillon or nobody.
Basic course overview is, dealing with the police, the 911 or 911 call, displaying your firearm versus using deadly force, et cetera, et cetera.
How much does it cost?
Free. If you're looking at the email,
It's
you
free?
you RSVP on the link, and it is totally free because you're a San Diego County gun owners person.
By the way, you forgot to talk about this.
What?
Join the newsletter.
Oh yeah.
And
I
you
was about.
no, this is at
I was
5
getting there.
o'clock. You're late.
Well,
Win a prize.
better late than never.
GunOwnersRadio.com/subscribe. You can get merch.
Merch?
Like Action Jackson's wearing.
What are you wearing, bud?
Got his merch on.
Is that your Gun Owners Radio hat? That's awesome, man. How does it feel?
Great.
How come you didn't go for the red?
This is red.
No, it's not. Part of it's red.
The full
brim.
bill.
The full red.
The duck bill.
Do you feel smarter?
Very smart.
You look smart.
There you go. Yes.
Yeah, go to what's the deal? What's the announcement that I forgot? You already do it. Sign up. Go to gunownersradio.com.
Just go to gunownersradio.com/subscribe.
Yeah.
And we can
gunownersradio.com/subscribe
pull your name. Win some merch.
and win some merch. Awesome. Yeah, Rich did a really good job of having Gun Owners Radio merch up.
Yeah, I know. I loved it.
So there's not an election this year. It's 2023.
Yes, there is.
What's the election?
Somebody's going to get kicked out.
Well, I was about to say let's hope not, but actually maybe we should hope for that.
Well, it was exciting the last 3 days.
There's no election. It is definitely a growth year at San Diego County Gun Owners and Orange County Gun Owners and Umpire. But I suggest, my recommendation, make 2023 the year to train. And we just mentioned 3. There's a free opportunity to take a legal seminar for gun owners right here in San Diego this Wednesday. All you got to do is sign up. Alicia's going to have a fantastic course on decision making.
Yep.
And Joe is rolling out a course on, hey, you got your CCW, now what? There are so many opportunities to train. I would put San Diego, because I haven't lived in every corner of the country, but from the feedback I have gotten and from things I've seen, I think we're one of the best places in the country to train. You know, we have a lot of special operations guys who end their career here and say, hey, I want to stay in San Diego, so let me teach a bunch of people how to use their firearm. You got all these, super SEALs from Coronado
And there's no confusion. You only have 3 guns available in California. So
well, we're
it's not
working on it.
It's not complicated.
We're working on it. We have all these great instructors. There's so many opportunities in San Diego to train. You don't have to be rich.
Well, and the other thing too is, like I was saying, we're immersed in it because there's a lot of, like just as an example, Miles at Tactical Hive.
Yeah.
Just great training there. I just did a force-on-force training there a month or two ago. But, unless you're plugged into the community, you get on the email list, you don't really see that stuff. If you search for it, a lot of times some of the best training doesn't pop up because it's like you're saying, it's groups of former military guys or something that are now doing training here, and the training's really good. It's just it's a little bit challenging to find unless you get involved with groups like San Diego County Gun Owners or people like that are involved in the community. You'll hear about this stuff. You get on the email list, and then you'll see these trainings that come up. But a lot of really quality training out here.
Yeah.
And I'm wishing I would have known about the course like what Joe's offering, his Next Steps course. When I first got my permit, I was already immersed and I was already in the world. But even with the experience that I had, carrying on your body is a whole different animal than range shooting. And, and having the opportunity to kind of have somebody kind of help guide or to give suggestions, I had nobody. I had to figure it out on my own. And if there were classes, I didn't know about them. So I'm glad he's doing it.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, too. It's just the difference, like carrying and manipulating a loaded gun, for instance.
Mhm.
Most people do that on the firing range at the range.
Yep.
When you're a concealed carrier, you're going to be doing it every morning when you get dressed, when you come home in the afternoon. And you got to be, for one, you got to be switched on all the time, which some people, have to work up to that, I guess. But I mean, there's a lot of considerations and things like that. And again, if you don't have anybody to talk to, what do you do when Aunt Emma, hugs you and, oh, what's that? How do you handle that? Dealing with family, with friends, with colleagues. So it's stuff like that. If you don't know people that are doing it, who do you ask? How do you find that stuff out? So hopefully that's a sample of some of the kind of stuff that we'll talk about in the class.
Well, learning your equipment, that lesson is, I learned my very first, I think it was my first formal shooting class. It was a shotgun class. It was a multi-day shotgun class. And I show up with the most simplest of pump action shotguns. And everybody else in this class it was all decked out, had all kinds of everything hanging off their shotgun. I was so intimidated. I'm like, oh my God. Well, I don't know, maybe 100, 150 rounds into this class, all that cool stuff that was attached to their shotgun was now on the ground at their feet. There was like a circle of stuff around them, because it was, and they had to.
And you're still shooting heavy duty.
Yeah. And they just had to, like, all right, well, here, this didn't work this way, so I have to do it another way or whatever, So they had to learn, but you're not going to learn unless you use it. You definitely don't want to use it when there's a ski mask in your house looking at you, telling you, hands up. So train. I think this should be the year. I think that's what we're going to focus on. We're really going to try to tell people that's
because we've got an awful lot of people out there with guns.
that's exactly right.
More so than we've ever had in the last 2 years.
More so than we've ever
legal
had.
People anyway. About 8,700 CCW licenses, and the sheriff said 5,000 in the queue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little over 8,700.
5,000 in the
And
queue.
CCW classes with those legitimate instructors, they're packed to the brim, and their classes are full, pushing people through.
So 8,700 ish. I haven't looked at the numbers, but you're right. She did say 5,000 CCWs
in the queue,
and they issued how many in like the last 2 months? It just went up by like 1,000 or something.
Yeah, it was like
900,
953 or something like that. Yeah.
And she's by the way, everybody wants to know.
She's true to her word.
Well, she's true to her word, and she's going to be even more truer to her word. We talked a lot about that. That hey, we helped you get elected. We stood by you. We believe in you. But now's the time. We got to get this CCW thing straightened out. She is committed to doing exactly that. But like Joe just said, there are 5,000 people in line right now. 5,000 people in line.
And if you're one of those people with an appointment that's like a year and a half out, keep checking that online portal. People cancel. Appointments get opened up.
Yeah,
keep checking.
Because they're not going to contact you.
No, you have to be proactive. You log into that portal, and if something sooner is available and you want it, jump on it.
Yeah, I would just pick a day of the week and just say, hey, you know what, every day at this, I'm going to go check Permitium and see if something's opened up, and inevitably you're going to find something. And we don't want a single space to go wasted.
Right.
We want to try to, cut into that 5,000 person line.
The current count right now 8,784.
Well, bam. From 1,100 in 2000. It was 1,100 at the end of the summer of 2017. About 1,100.
Crazy.
Now it's at
8784.
8784.
Keep working.
Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. You can watch us live every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, right here on our YouTube channel, or if you're in the San Diego area, you can listen to us on 1170 a.m. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform for free. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can help restore and protect the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.